Hamisha, my sister, I'm in your town, Lagos.
Welcome.
You in your territory.
I know I am right where I belong right now, but of course it was a journey and a half to get here, so I'm happy. Creative and producing, constantly battling. I do believe though that business training and that business experience that I've had in Nigeria, I think that it always needs to go hand in hand. So I am grateful.
Then came the big day. You surprised all of us. Namaste Wahala. In the midst of Valentine shows up from someone that had never produced a movie before.
We went a step further and took the top Nollywood celebrities to India. So Nollywood was going to India for the first time. It's never happened before.
No, we could not fall in better love as investors.
Thank you
Let's wait for
for
the
that.
audience to see what's next.
Together, we're more than a superpower. So I'm just excited to continue down this path.
This is music to my ear.
Today in the Valley with Ibrahim Sagna is a woman who has bridged two of the world's most boisterous cultures. She started in the hospitality business before pivoting to her long-held dream of cinema. Now, as the woman behind the camera and a producer, she brought us the Netflix top 10 hit Namaste Wahala, a love story between Nollywood and Bollywood. Our guest has a lot more in store and she tells it all in this episode. Today, the Valley welcomes Hamisha Daryani Ahuja.
Hamisha, my sister, I'm in your town, Lagos, Capital Club.
Welcome.
You in your territory.
How's Lagos treating you? I hope people are treating you well.
It's been great.
Yes.
Now with you, even better.
Thank you.
So did you always know you were going to be a movie mogul?
Oh, you're too kind. I actually always dreamed it. As a kid, I always dreamt that I'd love to be in the movie industry. I never knew where the path would take me, where the journey would take me. I'm very grateful, very happy. I know I am right where I belong right now. But of course, it was a journey and a half to get here. And let's say maybe my subconscious knew, but I didn't know. So I'm happy.
Well, a lot of the creatives in our ecosystem and as guests of our podcast, of our show, have told us consistently that the day that they spell out their love for the craft is the day they hit a wall with their parents. How was that experience with you?
So I have an Indian family and I live in Nigeria. That's two very conservative backgrounds. And yes, I did have a similar, not just with parents and family, but friends as well. Because the entertainment industry back in the day didn't have the best reputation. And I'm Sindhi, so I know, I'm sure you know some Sindhis. We Sindhis, we like business.
Exactly. Business, commerce, trade.
Encouraged to go down that path, like anything to do with business.
But also doctor,
doctors,
engineer.
right? Yeah, the normal. So this was off the beaten path. And so yes, in the beginning, there was a little bit of backlash on that, but I decided to go my second route, which was business and hospitality. So I studied commerce in my undergrad, and then I did a postgraduate in hospitality, and that was my second choice, not in a bad way, not putting that down. It was something I had to do, and I believe that now, which is why I opened restaurants, Bistro 7.
Yeah, Bistro 7, yes. And I was a loyalist. I was there every weekend with the family.
Oh, thank you.
And we could not do breakfast on weekend without going to Bistro 7. Until the day you decided to break our heart and sell. And we just got a message
Happiest
saying
day
that
of my life, though.
So you have to tell us, while on the other side, as customer, we discover that the owner is no longer here. How did that transition?
Divine intervention.
How
to call it.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So I was running restaurants for a good 7 years, as they say, the 7-year
Just
itch.
like Bistro 7?
7's part of my life. My current company, Forever 7. Bistro
That's
7.
true.
7th
Forever
Heaven. I've had
That's true.
7 follows me. I should tell you my 7 story later. But no, and as we said earlier, the 7-year itch, I did that for 7 years. And while I was running these restaurants, I actually opened in the Palms, in a mall. I'd opened in the Kent EP.13 in AIS, and then I had Bistro 7 as well. So there was just a lot going on. But while I was doing this, I was also running workshops called The Pursuit of Happiness. It was like a side, let's say a side hustle, more like a passion, teaching people how to be happy. And I ran them out of the conference room at the back of Bistro 7. And as I was teaching this course, you know, when you teach, you embody. And I found that I was embodying my messages a lot more. And one of my biggest messages are dream big. What are your biggest dreams? And the little girl in me who went to her parents and her family and, you know, wanted to get into the movie industry kept coming back. And I realized if not now, then when? And so yeah, that was the beginning of the end of my hospitality journey. But I think that there's a reason for everything. And I knew that I didn't want to close the restaurant down because, as you said, a lot of loyalists, it was a community. And so perfect timing, Chocolate City came along and they were looking to sort of invest in the hospitality space. They were looking for a restaurant and they were also big fans of the restaurant. So it sort of worked out. So I sold my company to them. I am a shareholder. I have a minor stake in there. And in that interaction, chatting with Paul and Odu and all, I actually met MI in that. And he actually attended my workshop, The Pursuit of Happiness. And it was in that conversation when I was conducting the course that I actually told him my idea that I really wanted to do an Indian-Nigerian movie. Because I'm like, you know, Nigeria has grown up on Indian content. All my Nigerian friends know Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan. Bollywood had such a big impact. How come no one's tried to merge the two together? And that was where, you know, I mean, he was like, I love it. It's a great idea. And it's through that trajectory. And he was there from day one. Divine intervention, everything is connected, right? So they bought the company, gave me my freedom. Because hospitality really, that industry sort of takes over your life. Yeah, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. So. You know, Steve Jobs has a quote before he passed away, which goes a little bit like this: "We can only connect the dots looking back, not looking forward." And obviously, in your own story, one can see how you ended up in this consistent path, in this journey of yours, selling to the largest player in the streaming industry, which is Netflix, a movie which we'll get into in a minute. But just before that, you were able to also sell your hospitality business to the leading entertainer at the time in Nigeria. So clearly, elements in your past, especially your business training, seem to have been of great relevance, clearly, since systematically you're getting into great transaction. It's not accidents you plan, but it's working as a great plan.
So it's interesting you say that, because actually one avenue of my course that I teach and talk about is gratitude, but I have something called the gratitude flip, which I talk about when something negative happens or something bad happens, how can you be grateful for it? And you just actually cued that for me, another gratitude flip. We just discussed back in the day as a child where the entertainment industry was frowned upon, and I went the business route and I studied commerce and I opened the restaurant and you know, I went into business. Ironically, when I moved into making Namaste Wahala, that was actually me wanting to tickle that creative itch. But because I'm a businesswoman inherently, I feel like the business side of me kept showing up. And I was a producer and the director. So the producer and director, which was me, was fighting with myself a lot because there were a lot of times, for example, you'll be in a location and the location needs to get you out because time's ticking versus should we take that last shot? So creative and producing, constantly battling. I do believe, though, that business training and that business experience that I've had in Nigeria has really, really helped me in this creative path. And I think that it always needs to go hand in hand. So I am grateful for the beginning stages of business to then go into creative.
Beautiful. And then came the big day. You surprised all of us.
And myself.
With Namaste Wahala. In the midst of Valentine, shows up and becomes #1 in the US, #1 in UAE, #1 in India, #1 in Nigeria, #1 in the UK, from someone that had never produced a movie before. Tell us about that. And all of that under the Netflix banner.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, sometimes things happen, and I didn't know this was going to happen either. So when we started Namaste Wahala, I was meant to go to cinema. Film One was our consultants, and
Right.
they were the ones who actually taught me the ropes because, as I told you, I was a newbie. Of course, MI was there, so it was really nice to have this support network. And we were always planning to release in cinema. We'd actually even released the flyers saying we're coming in April. No one predicted COVID. COVID came out of nowhere and just literally hit us, and so we had no idea what was going to happen, and we kept thinking, okay, the world's going to open, so we delayed it. It was like, okay, fine, October, it's going to happen. The funny thing is, when we finished shooting Namaste Wahala, Netflix landed in Nigeria a month later. So again, things happen for a reason. We didn't know then, but we know now that was meant to be. After a while, it was very clear COVID was here for a while, and things happen, and it was the right move. It was something we had to do, and not even had to do. I mean, I'm actually grateful for it, because had it not happened the way it happened, it wouldn't have gone to the world, as you said. So this little baby, this small little project was meant to erupt, was meant to sort of spread a message. There was a quote that went out there that it was the first Nollywood movie to trend in the US. So India, for example, had a Nollywood movie in their top 10. So it was just awareness, and I think a lot of people were very excited to see a Nigerian and an Indian together. It's not a very normal or common thing you see in the commercial world.
Yes.
So that was exciting for us, and I'm going with it.
Super. I would even venture to say, from a business lens, that you're probably in a subconscious manner was very business centric in terms of making sense. You had provided to the global audience, because the job of producing a movie is really satisfying audience. You managed to target the two largest in terms of scale audiences for brown people and black people, which is India, largest population of brown people, and Nigeria, largest population of black people. So for us, there couldn't be a bigger moat, a bigger market to target in a singular manner. And you happen to espouse the two. So in terms of defensiveness, we could not find anything as robust. So I would argue that this business trained child was still in the picture.
I think you can't take business out of a Sindhi, out of an Indian, out of a Nigerian, put them together, you've got So no, definitely. And then I'm riding that wave. I mean, with the next production we've done, Postcards, we went a step further and took the top Nollywood celebrities to India. So Nollywood was going to India for the first time. It's never happened before. We ran to, and again, a lot of, as I said, Namaste Wala was my baby, and there was a lot of learning. This time I took my learning and applied it to Postcards. So I'm hoping when you guys see that, you'll see the learning a bit, and
cannot wait.
See these two industries back together. And you're right, Nigeria and India, not just the biggest diaspora, but also the two biggest entertainment like Bollywood and Nollywood make together. I mean, separately they make the highest volume of films. Imagine them together.
No, we could not fall in better love as investors. So we're really delighted to be part of the project, and cannot wait for the audience to see what's next. In terms of Bollywood, how, when you grew up here, did you feel seeing so much content adopted in this market? Because you go across West Africa and even East Africa. From our childhood, there were cinemas that were specialized in delivering only Indian movies. So how did you feel growing up seeing that, seeing like, wow, I'm in Nigeria, and yet my content from home is so well adopted and espoused.
And so that's what's inspired me. So a lot of my Nigerian friends know so many of the Bollywood actors, Amitabh Bachchan, Hema Malini, Shah Rukh Khan, they're household names in Nigeria. So as you said, again, now I'm thinking about it, the business side, was the business side, that, oh my God, people here love Indian content. Creative side, how much fun would it be to marry the two together? And so that's why Namaste Wahala was born. And it was just exciting to see. And I think that was also the result of why it was popular, because people wanted more of it. You know, when you bring in Indian content, for example, Z shows, Sony shows, I find when it's dubbed in different accents and different languages. So what I try to do with Namaste Wahala is bring some authentic Nigerian culture as well as authentic Indian culture and put it together. So you have your pidgin, you have the mother in-law speaking Hindi, but everybody's speaking English, and it's all sort of mixed together. So there's a little bit more of what we know. I mean, another big target audience that was hit here was the Indians living in Nigeria. That's my biggest fan club at the moment. I bump into people all the time. They're like, when's the next one coming out? Because there was you could relate so much as an expat living in Lagos as well. So that was Raj.
Yeah.
You know, just anything from the granite bottles to like, you know, the Indomie being cooked. It's just part of our, I mean, I'm an Indian living in Nigeria. So that there was a lot of people who could relate to all different aspects.
What I find fascinating about your story is the power of subconscious versus conscious. You know, a lot of people don't think about it as much, but your subconscious is what allows you to drive while looking at your phone, which creates accidents. But your body memory knows what to do in an automated fashion. And that guides most of our action, doing good or bad things, because that's what is ingrained in you over time. While consciousness is actually thoughtful stop and thinking of everything, then to make a decisive action. So in your case, when you listen to your story for everything that has transpired before, the subconscious plays a big part into these great decisions. So it's really spectacular to watch. Today's episode is sponsored by Statement. Statement is a media company focused on editorial coverage and market analysis of the African entertainment industry. Its production arm builds a pipeline for African women filmmakers. Magic Johnson, Samuel L. Jackson, and Latanya Richardson Jackson are among the investors that support the Statement's mission. We at Silverbacks Valley are big fans. Naval is a favorite thinker and writer and podcaster of mine, and he states, meditation is the intermittent fasting for the mind. Too much sugar leads to a heavy body, and too many distractions lead to a heavy mind. Time spent undistracted and alone in self-examination, journaling helps. Meditation resolves the unresolved and make you from mentally fat to fit. What does that make you think about?
It makes me smile because you pretty much summed up my entire workshop in one quote. So all the things you mentioned, like journaling, time alone, self-care, exercise, you didn't mention self-care, but actually meditation is a form of self-care. And I actually find that I love the quote, first of all. I think I'm going to have to read over it some more. It's funny how when I entered actually the Big Brother house, I actually told all of them, because they didn't know I was coming. So they were a bit like, what's this happiness workshop? What are we going to do with this? And I said, you know, you guys go and exercise every day. You exercise your bodies every day. So they have to, by force, every day they have a workout. He said, but how often do you exercise your brain and your mind? And a lot of the things that you've mentioned in the quote and even in my workshop, we know as kids. Funny enough, what you mentioned about sugar is like my biggest fight with my two kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and sugar is literally a drug. I mean, people love it, babies love it, and like I'm literally trying to do this whole balance of nothing in excess. And it's so interesting that it's come in the quote as well, because it starts from childhood. We learned as kids, don't do this, be kind, look after yourself, go for a shower, brush your teeth. That's all self-care. But now as you grow up as adults, you forget that self-care is important, and we start to feel guilty about doing certain things. So I actually spent an hour of my time in the house just telling these guys self-care and teaching them activities on how to practice self-care without guilt. And I think meditation goes hand in hand with that, because it's literally just being silent and being with yourself and going inwards, which if we all did, I think we'd have so much peace in this world. Let me not say anything un-PC. But if everybody meditated, even people who are in power, I think life would just be very different.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, in fact, when you think about it, even in the semantic of the words lies the answer, because it says distraction and then attraction. So even in the laws of attraction, which you know too well and we've discussed, it's all about centering and getting your goal to come to you, not you chasing after it. So it matches everything you've said. And even if you think about interaction one word that is never promoted as much is actually intra-action, which is what you're saying. A lot of people get busy being distracted by interactions, but you going into an intra journey with yourself is where often lies happiness, peace, and inner peace, actually, at the end of the day. And once you know yourself better, it's easier to go back and engage with life. I've followed some of your session, and I think it also helps the public focusing on what's important, because in life you kind of get thrown in this journey and not getting the guidance. And fundamentally, clearly you've got the light, and it's massive to see you share it with others and find the time while pursuing a career of movie producer. Now share with us what's coming next in this journey, now that your first attempt of a movie was actually a global success. Once you start reaching the sun, what's next as a planet?
So like I said, I have actually no choice. I am just going with it, and honestly, it's so exciting. So we just finished filming and actually done editing as well. Our mini-series, Postcards, which I'll be very excited to share more soon. But it's been a journey. So what we did is Namaste Wahala was shot in Nigeria, in Lagos, and it was a love story. This time, I took, I would say, some of the some of my favorites celebrities from Nigeria to India. So it's the first time Nollywood has gone to India. So we had a hashtag going, Nollywood goes to India. And we ran two, one is a mini-series, it's a full-on fiction mini-series with a beautiful story. But also behind the scenes, we had a lot of fun with hashtag Nollywood goes to India. So we welcomed, I'm from both sides. I'm Indian, but I'm Nigerian as well. And so like the garlands and we make a lot of noise in India, but we also make a lot of noise here. So when these two came together, it was so much fun. Yeah. So this miniseries is entirely shot. Not entirely. It's 80% shot in Mumbai. We also shot in Lagos as well, and it's really fun because it's totally different from Namaste Wahala. With Namaste Wahala, we went very 90s, very dancing around trees, very in-your-face cheese. This is more of a drama, slice of life. But because of all this that we've even talked about, the pursuit of happiness, I find I like to mix everything of my life. So business is mixed. In Namaste Wahala, all that food, by the way, was Bistro 7.
Nice.
So over here, a lot of the messages, very subtly, in a slice of life, in this world where, for example, you have Auntie Shola Shubawale coming to Mumbai for medical tourism. A lot of it is just a conversation with her and her Indian doctor. And it's not about him being Indian. It's not about her being Nigerian. It's about two people and their perception in life. And that is it. And I'm not really focusing too much on India and Nigeria, though that's in the background because culture always plays a part. So you'll definitely see interactions with Indian food, or you'll see Nigerian food, but really that's not the front focus. Where I put it in your face with Namaste Wahala, where we had like jollof biryani, and you saw like this is India, this is Nigeria, and we're coming together. Here it's humans coming together from different perspectives. And funny enough, let's see when you watch it, is it really culture that influences your behavior? Is it life, humans, like what? And so that's what you find out hopefully when you watch it, when you see the messages I'm trying to give you.
Cannot wait.
Other than that, I just finished shooting the miniseries. I'm currently working on 3 other projects at the moment, which is exciting. So yes, to answer your question in regards to what's next, I have a reality show coming up, a telenovela, and an action film. So I'm very, very excited, to bring more of our cultures together. Because as you mentioned earlier, we have the largest diaspora in the world. Can you imagine us together, as well as our populations, both India and Nigeria? Together, we're more than a superpower. So I'm just excited to continue down this path.
This is music to my ear. Just cannot wait for the next project. We are there all the way. 1000%.
I hope so.
So Hamisha, a poet has to write, a singer has to sing, a painter has to draw. What is it that Hamisha has to do in order to be?
So confidentially, but it's not confidential anymore. The first thing that comes to my head to act. And then that is going to be the next chapter of my life.
Wow, beautiful. This is
another dream. Actually, that's where the little girl dream we talked about, started from there. And it took me being a producer and a director first to allow that little girl to, and so my next chapter will be that. Fingers crossed.
Love the blooming. The blooming continues.
Never too old, never too young, right?
Fabulous. With that, I'm gonna do quick fire questions.
Okay.
Just whatever comes to mind. Favorite Bollywood movie?
Anything Karan Johar, which is Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, and he just came out with Rocky and Rani. He's the ultimate in cheese and messages and just everything put together. You must watch it. Any of his
on
movies.
my list. It's on. Favorite Nollywood movie?
Namaste Wala. I have to be loyal.
Good. Favorite Nollywood actor?
Oh, I can't pick. There's so many. Oh my God, all the guys that are in.
All right,
my
I will save you the political drama. Favorite Netflix series?
I love Bridgerton.
Bridgerton, yes. My wife has seen it 9 times, forced me to say it twice.
9 times?
It was great.
You try.
Yeah. You know that she's checking out the fine boys there. But it's fine. She gets stuck with me when the show is finished. Favorite romantic comedy of all time?
So I love all the Julia Roberts ones. So like Pretty Woman, Notting Hill. I mean, of course, barring I've just told you about Karan Johar and the Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. But if I had to move that way, then I'd go with Julia Roberts.
Favorite Indian dish and favorite Nigerian dish?
So chicken curry for Indian and Nigerian suya, but together jollof biryani. We had it the other day. We made it. I'm not even joking. It was so good.
Jollof biryani. I have to be invited for that one. When it happens, call me. Now, if you could get if there's one book someone should read, what would you recommend? What's your favorite book?
I would recommend, I would say read or watch, but The Secret, The Law of Attraction. It's very basic, and I know it's very old school, and it's very commercial sometimes. It had some, sort of negative behind it, but to me, that changed my life. The basic knowledge of Law of Attraction, what The Secret is how I live my life, and it has literally been the secret to my success. I practice it, I live it. Gratitude, I have a whole section in my workshop on the Law of Attraction. So what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is called Sapien. It's by a gentleman called Yuval Harari. In fact, the book is here. He has a series of books, just like The Law of Attraction, which is The Secret, another favorite book of mine. This book, I think, systematically stays my favorite because it culminates the history of man, so it's very history-oriented, and then tries to peek into the future a bit. And just as you end, he actually wrote another 2 or 3 books, which touch more into the future. So there's a bit aspect of futurist in me.
Okay.
But I think what I'm most interested in is actually humanity and humans. I think we remain the most unusual species on Earth for many reasons. And this book elucidates a lot of the reasons why.
Okay, so my husband loves this book as well, so I definitely am going to add it to my reading list. I understand.
You have to add it.
Why you guys?
You have to add it. It was a real pleasure having you. I cannot wait for us to do more together. I think
I'm excited too.
As you continue to bloom, we'll not miss an opportunity to have you back in the show.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the audience is going to continue to love your love stories and what you share beyond the love territory.
Thank you. Really, and I love being here as well. So thank you for having me.
Keep your positive energy. We need more of you.
Thank you. Earth. You too as well. It's a shared energy. That's why we're so aligned.
Absolutely. Stay blessed, my dear.
Thank you.
Thank you for the gift of your time.
Namaste.
Namaste.